Okay, so I'm going to start with the only cooked recipe today, and it's called Easy Mushroom Lettuce Wraps. And these are all recipes that I'd never tried before the bundle, and I've made them all, tested them here before today, and I really like them. So I'm just heating up my nonstick pan here. I put a little water in the bottom because I don't use any oil, because I don't like to have anything, I don't like to have a pan just heating with nothing in it. So I always add a little bit of water, or if you are someone who uses vegetable stock, you can add a little bit of that too. So this recipe is from, I want to give credit, the 7-Day Low Calorie Density Meal Plan and Recipes by Melissa Alexandria. And I've got everything pretty much ready to go here. This is, what is this pan called? This is my favorite nonstick pan. It's really inexpensive. It's in the $30 range. And it's called Ozeri. It's in my Amazon store. If you go to straightupfood.com and click on shop, you will find a link to that. But I like it because it works well and it's also inexpensive. It doesn't come with a lid. The lid is separate, but I've never needed the lid. I do fine without it. All right, so what I've got here is, excuse me, and I'm only making half the recipe because it's just for me. So I have half of an onion, I have a half of a bell pepper, and all these recipes are in the bundle if you get the bundle. And there's about 5 mushrooms, just cut up kind of small. So I'm going to put these all in my pan here. And I'm using a yellow onion. You could use a white onion if you want, or a red onion. You know me, I like options. Now we're just going to saute these so they get nice and soft till those onions get kind of translucent. And then if the water is cooking off too fast, you can turn your heat down, or you can have a little bit of water nearby. Some people like to just do dry saute, which is fine. You just got to keep your eye on it so it doesn't burn or stick. Hey Sarah, you already have this cookbook. Woohoo! Okay. All right. Now, if you don't like mushrooms, you can leave them out. You can put something else in, like zucchini or something else that you like, broccoli, whatever floats your boat. If you do like mushrooms, I love mushrooms, you can use a different kind. I've used cremini mushrooms today, but you can use any kind you like, or a mix. And I've just got this on kind of a medium-high heat. Again, no oil, just a little bit of water or veg stock, or just keep your eye on it so it doesn't stick or burn. Okay. And I've used a red bell pepper. I like red bell peppers because they're just naturally the sweetest of the bell peppers, but you could use an orange or yellow or green. Some people like hot and spicy stuff, so you could throw a jalapeno in there if you want. And this could be an entree, it could be a little side dish, it could be an appetizer. I like that about it, that it's really versatile. Hi, Deborah. All right. So you guys can see in the overhead camera here that these are starting to shrink, they're starting to brown. We don't want to overly brown them. We just want to cook out some of that water that's in the vegetables because that concentrates the flavor. So. Yum, yum. Okay. So while that's doing that, what else are we going to add? We're going to add a little bit of garlic powder, just a half. Oh, I'm halving this. So I'm going to do about a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. If you wanted to use fresh minced garlic, you could do that. The recipe calls for garlic powder. I'm actually using granulated garlic here, but you could use any kind of dried garlic. And then the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. I don't use soy sauce because it's high in sodium, so I'm just going to skip that. And as I said before, I've already made this, so I know it tastes great even without the soy sauce. It smells great. Okay, so a little bit of garlic. If there's any other spices, once you make this, you'll see like, oh, how I can adapt it and add different things and add different spices that you may like. Okay. Alrighty. And what else are we going to put in there? So she puts in a little bit of liquid smoke. I don't use liquid smoke because it's got some things in it, and I think it's got salt in it, so I just don't use it. So instead of liquid smoke, which is smoky, I'm going to use some smoked paprika. And she says a half teaspoon of liquid smoke. So I'm going to do maybe a quarter teaspoon of this since I'm having the recipe. Add more if you like. But I think the smoky paprika works great. Gives it really good flavor. And when you see that brown stuff on the bottom, just add a little bit of water if you want. That smells so good. Smoky paprika or smoky anything is one of those ingredients you don't want to go overboard on. Kind of like ginger. You might jump the shark if you use too much. Okay, this looks really good. It smells really good. And then the last couple of ingredients are some green onions. So some chopped green onions, and then some grated carrots. The recipe says just to add these in on top at the end, but I'm going to go ahead and saute them in just toward the end here. I could never make a recipe the same way twice. Even if it's my own recipe, I just like to have fun with it and do different things. Okay. So there we go. I'm going to turn this off. If you want to cook it a little bit longer, the recipe actually, she says to saute for 15 to 20 minutes, but I'm not going to do that. It's good enough. And then we are going to put these in some lettuce. I call them cups. She rolls them, but I'm just going to do, this is just like iceberg lettuce. Sorry, I can't talk today. Iceberg lettuce, and I just cut kind of the sides, and then I got these little dishes of lettuce. And there's a couple layers here, and I kind of like it with 2 or 3 layers. And then we're going to put the stuff inside because it's more substantial. And then you get more of the crunch of the iceberg. This is organic iceberg lettuce. Iceberg lettuce is good for you. If you wanted to put this in some lightly steamed kale, or what else could we put it? Romaine lettuce. You could do that as well. Hi, Felicia. Can I use a different kind of onion? Sure. Oh, instead of the green onion? Yeah. I mean, there's already white onion in there, yellow onion. So yeah, do whatever you want. This is a really flexible recipe. So just scoop it in the little lettuce cups. And you can see how this would make a nice little appetizer or a little side dish, or if you ate a bunch of these, it could be your meal right there. But I was really surprised at how good these were, and I'm a texture person too, so I like the crunch of the lettuce with the nice soft flavorful veggies inside. So there's one. Isn't that pretty? I've never done anything like this. Here's a bigger one, and see, you can separate them, and they're thinner, so you could do that, but I kind of like them together. I like the more substantial lettuce. Hey Marilyn, I have your cookbook and love it. Thank you. These the green onions are for crunch. Maybe water chestnuts, sure. I think recipes can be used as guides. So do what you like. Okay, oh, so good. All right, so there is another one, and I'm just gonna make 2 for you, but aren't those pretty? I like this one, how it has the flare on the side. All right, so those are the easy mushroom lettuce wraps. Again, as I said, she wraps the stuff in the lettuce. So you have to have a bigger piece of lettuce, and then you can wrap it up, but I kind of like this little clamshell looking situation. All right, so I'm gonna put this aside. And we're done with that one. See, I told you it'd be easy. So the second recipe I'm going to do is from the Beautiful Chopped Salad course and ebook by Tammy Kramer of Nutmeg Notebook. We love Tammy. She's the queen of batch prepping and making beautiful salads. And she's got this whole ebook and also a course that you can watch, the videos of how she chops salad. There's a lot going on there, all different ways you can chop salad, why you would want to chop your salad, batch prep your salad. And let me get my salad here. So Tammy batch preps salad, and I've done this too. I just love it. If you're tired of cooking and you want to do one thing to like save your time and sanity, batch prep some salads in some little Tupperware things or something and make enough for a week. And what she talks about is just putting sturdy greens in. So I'm using spinach here today, and the carrots, and I've got some red onion in there. And then she says you can add other stuff later, right before you're going to eat it. And you can also chop it at that time too into smaller pieces. It'll be more delicious. It'll be easier to chew. She would just put the cherry tomatoes in whole, and then right before she's going to eat it, she will cut them in half. So I've already done this here. She doesn't use lettuce like iceberg lettuce and lightweight greens because they don't hold up as well as the kale and the spinach and kind of the darker heavyweight greens. So she might use a kale, spinach, arugula, broccoli slaw. You can buy bags of shredded carrots if you don't want to grate your own. She'll put some thinly sliced red or green cabbage in there. Hey, Patty. So the sturdy stuff goes in the containers and it's ready to go. And then when you take it out, you're ready to eat, you can add some fun stuff to it. So I've got some fun stuff. And I didn't put this in a cute bowl. This is like the only, okay, whatever. You know me, I like cute bowls. So this is my extra fun stuff here. And what I have here is some jicama matchsticks. So she has a lot of fun with the stuff that she adds. I don't usually use jicama, but it's delicious, and I don't know if I can describe it. What is jicama, you guys? It's a fruit. It's kind of sweet. It's kind of crunchy. It's like a carrot, but tastes different. So anyway, I just cut these in some matchsticks. So I'm going to add these to my salad here. And you know, this can be a meal. I mean, you could have a potato or some other starch with it, but if you add your starch, which I'm going to do with it, this is like a whole meal on its own. And then here I have some red bell pepper that I lightly roasted. I'm not a fan of raw red bell pepper. I will eat a little bit of it, but I much prefer it cooked. Same with broccoli, same with cauliflower. I don't really like it raw too much unless it's really small. So maybe I'll stop there so I don't go crazy. All right. You can also add some nuts or seeds. It is going to add more calories to your salad. I've been in the pistachio mood lately, so I'm just going to add some pistachios over the top. And then one thing Tammy talks about in her book is, so she has lots of salad ideas and instruction, and then she also has dressings and toppings. And one of her toppings was these Japanese sweet potato croutons. And she bakes, she slices the Japanese sweet potato, and then she coats them in this blend called Everything Bagel Seasoning Mix, and then she bakes them. And it's just a nice starch. It makes your salad more hearty. So I didn't have a Japanese sweet potato, and I did not have that Everything Bagel Seasoning Mix. So what I was going to do is put some baked delicata squash pieces on here. So I baked the delicata squash, and then I went to cut it, and I had over-baked it. So it wouldn't hold up. I wouldn't make those nice kind of half moons on there. So I thought, well, maybe I can do something else. So I got creative, and I took the inside of the delicata squash, and I made these little balls out of it. And if you let the delicata squash flesh cool, you can roll it into balls, and then you'll notice it's a little cooked on the outside, and that's because I rolled it in some dried white onions. Just to, you know, instead of the everything bagel seasoning mix. And it turned out really kind of cool. So these are delicata squash with dried onions. I also put some dried onions inside when I was rolling it. On hindsight, I didn't need to do that. It's enough on the outside. So this is something that Tammy talks about in her book, to add more starch. So we'll just throw some of these on there. And I'll just use my fingers since no one else is eating this. And it just looks really kind of pretty. Let's put one in the middle too. And I just air fried those. You could also bake them in your oven, but they're kind of fun. All right. So that's a little bit about the chopped salads. It's a wonder. I mean, if you're kind of bored with the salads you've been eating, this is the book and course for you. Beautiful chopped salad course and ebook from Nutmeg Notebook. And she also has videos, so you will learn so much. So isn't that pretty? You can make a different salad every day for the rest of your life. And yeah, okay. So maybe I'll just leave that there for now. And as I said, Tammy has lots of dressings in this ebook as well. But since I'm doing a different recipe from 4 different people, I'm going to do a dressing from somebody else. And now we're going to do a green goddess dressing. And the reason I chose this is because I don't have a green goddess dressing. And another reason was that this uses 3 different fresh herbs. And that's something I've never done. I usually choose like, okay, this is going to have cilantro, or this is going to have basil or parsley, but I don't usually mix them all together. So I was really interested to try that with this, and it turned out great. You know how sometimes you can mix too many things and it becomes muddled? This works. It works, and it's really bright, and it's just a wonderful flavor. Of course, if you are a cilantro hater, you can leave the cilantro out. All right, so what I'm going to use for this is my little blender. I'll unwind it here. This is my TriBest personal blender. So I have my big Vitamix, which I'll use in a little bit, and then I also have my little blender. So when I'm blending something or grinding nuts or something with less volume, this is great. And this is in my Amazon store too. It's called TriBest Personal Blender. And the blade is right there on the bottom. And this comes with tall cups. This is 2 cups. It comes with short cups, which are great for making a little bit of salad dressing or just grinding some flax seeds. All right, so what are we going to put in this dressing? We are going to put some avocado. Yummy. So I've already scored the avocado, taken the seed out, and we're just gonna put this right in. Okay. And you always want it, when you cut your avocado in half, you don't ever want to hold it in your hand, just in case it goes through, of course. Just put it on your cutting board and cut it like that. All right. So obviously this is going to be a richer dressing because it uses avocado. But it's going to go great with my special salad. All right, the next ingredient is a 1/2 cup of water, which I already have measured out here. So 1/2 cup of water. The next ingredient is 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I'm using Bragg's apple cider vinegar. Whoops. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons here. Okay. 1. If you want to use a different kind of vinegar, like a brown rice vinegar or something, you could do that. Just watch out for the seasoned rice vinegar, seasoned vinegars, because they have lots of salt and sugar in them. Then we're going to do a 1/4 cup of, let me just move all my dressing ingredients over here. We're going to do a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, which I've already measured out. Now we're going to do the fresh herbs. 3/4 cup cilantro. So I'm going to try to, I'm hoping everything fits in here. All right. And then we're going to do some 1/4 cup of basil. And then a 1/4 cup of chives or green onion. I used chives in the first recipe, so I thought, green onions, so I thought I'd use chives here, something I don't buy that often. So, you know, I'm stretching myself here. All right, chives, and then it calls for 2 cloves of garlic. I'm just using 1 because I don't want to go crazy on the garlic. And then they also add a pinch of cayenne pepper and salt and pepper, so you can add those if you want, but I don't use salt, and I don't like really hot spicy stuff. Maybe if I used a pinch it wouldn't be that bad, but I'm going to leave that out. And by the way, I don't think I said who this recipe is from. This is from Living Foods 101, an ebook and online course from James Sant. All right, so we're going to put that on there, move this. And then the TriBest blender is really low tech. You just line this up with the notch. Oh, that looks so good. Look at that color. Okay, that looks great. And the thing with avocado, when you blend it, it gets kind of moussey, kind of fluffy and moussey. And if it's not, and it seems like the more you blend it, it just stays moussey. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's kind of thick. So what I will do is just put a little bit of water in it and then not blend it again. Just shake it. And then it seems to make it a little bit more pourable. Hey? All right. So it's still thick, but it's a little more pourable. So just keep that in mind. The more you whip it, like kind of whipped cream, it's going to stay fluffy and not as pourable. All right, so I'm just going to pour some of this right on my salad here. Oh, yes. So nice. That is a grand salad. I'm going to have a grand lunch today. This is going to be great. And I think these little delicata squash balls would be great if they were warm, but I made them last night, so now they're cold. But warm or cold, they would work. Isn't that... Tammy is probably not watching, but I hope she would be proud. Doesn't that look nice? Okay. So the last recipe I'm going to make is... It's called Berry Bubblegum Nice Cream. And the reason I chose this, let me get my nice cream ingredients out of the freezer. Okay. And I am going to use the Vitamix, so we'll take the lid off that. So this is from the ebook, the Inside Scoop Nice Cream ebook by Nathan Maris. It's 238 pages, you guys. Could that be right? Did I write that down right? I think so. It's got so many different non-dairy ice cream recipes, and they also have it broken out into low fat, no fat, high fat. They also have sauces and toppings as well. So the reason I chose this one is because it uses jackfruit, which I have never used. I've had jackfruit as a meat substitute. They'll do like a barbecue non-meat dish out of it. But you can also use it in sweet stuff. It's kind of got a tropical flavor. I wrote down some notes about it. It's in the fig family. And jackfruits can be up to 40 pounds. They're just huge. They come from India, I guess. And you can buy them frozen like this. And they're kind of funny looking. Let me show you what they look like. You know, we tend to get in ruts, so this has been really good for me to stretch me to try things that I normally don't use. So this is what it looks like. It's just very unusual. I already measured this out for the amount we're going to need today, and we're going to put it in here. But what else? There's a certain way that you add things to the Vitamix so it blends better. You don't want the frozen bananas or the frozen jackfruit at the very bottom. You want to put a liquid or a fruit that is, we're going to put some strawberries in, that is fresh on the bottom, because that helps it, maybe I will move this for now, that helps it blend easier. Okay, here's our jackfruit. So here are the bananas. I just took them out of the freezer. And he talks in the ebook about which bananas to choose, and you definitely want the brown spotty ones because they are going to be sweeter. And they talk about how to prepare them for the freezer. And these are little zip top freezer bags that are reusable. I love these things. I love them. If you go to straightupfood.com shop, you can find these if you like. But they come in all shapes and sizes, and they're thick. They're great. So I have some, the way I usually do my frozen bananas is I just, before they're frozen, I break them off into pieces like this, and then I just put them in the container. You can also freeze them whole. And, whoops. And you might think because they're frozen that you can't cut them at this point, but you know, you really can. It's not that hard. So you can freeze them whole. You might not want to freeze them like touching, then it might be a little hard to get them apart, but so you can pre-cut them, you can do them whole, and they talk all about that in the ebook. So this recipe calls for 2 frozen bananas. These bananas are a little bit on the small side, so I'm going to use these, and then I'm going to throw a few more in. But the order is to put the strawberries in first. So 1/2 cup fresh strawberries here. Organic strawberries, yummy. Then we're going to, she puts a little vanilla extract in. You can, I think you could leave that out if you didn't want it, but we'll do it anyway. She does a teaspoon. Or if you want to scrape out some vanilla beans, you could do that too. All right, and then the next thing is 2 cups of the jackfruit. And I already measured 2 cups here. And then the 2 frozen bananas. I'll just use my hands, I guess. And then I was going to throw a couple more in just because those bananas were kind of small. Okay. All right, and then we're gonna blend this. And then I also want to mention, and then they talk about this in the Inside Scoop Nice Cream book, you can use a Vitamix, you can use a food processor to do this, you can use a juicer to do this, and if you use the juicer, you can only use certain types, and I wrote down what it's called. It's a slow masticating juicer. I have an Omega juicer, and that works well. There's a special attachment that if you're doing nice cream type things that it's for. The drawback of doing it with the juicer is you can't throw all the goodies in, like the vanilla, and you know, it's just for the frozen fruit pretty much. And actually, that's the way I have made my nice cream in the past. And I haven't used the Vitamix, and I thought, oh, that's not going to work. It's going to be too thick. There's no liquid in here. There's no liquid here. So, and it works. You got to use your tamper, but it works. So if you don't have a Vitamix, or if you only have a blender without a tamper, you might want to use a food processor or a juicer. And then they also mentioned that if you don't have any of those, you can still do it too, and they tell how to do that. So many options. All right, so let's take this off. And here we go. And this will probably take a minute, but we'll see what happens. All right. And you want to kind of start on the lower speeds, and then as it's getting processed, you can turn it up a little bit. to make sure you get the tamper down into those corners because that's where some of the stuff likes to stay. And if it does get just too thick, you can always add a little bit of non-dairy milk or water or juice or something. And I think I'll do that just to speed it up here a little bit. This is just a little soy milk. But it's working. Takes muscles and patience. All right, I'm going to stop it and take a look at what we got going in here. Oh, it looks so good. I like to use a little scooper just because it makes it more fun to eat. And you can scoop it right out of here, or you could put this into a container and then scoop it out. And in the book, in the ebook, they say it's going to taste best if you eat it right away. Look at that, it scoops right away. I was kind of skeptical about that being made in the Vitamix, but it totally works. So there we go. I mean, I'm obviously going to have some extra. I'm not going to eat all this at once. So put it in a container, put it in the freezer, and when you take it out hours from now, it's going to be rock hard. So you're going to need to, because it doesn't have a lot of fat in it, the only fat is a little bit of soy milk. So you're going to need to let it sit out for a while. And then if you want to, as they suggest, put a few little strawberries in for cutesiness, you can do that. And there's so many different recipes in there and things that you can add. It's really crazy. She even has one with rosemary, like fresh rosemary in the ice cream. All right, you guys, there it is. Looks so nice. Maybe I'll set my other things over here while I'm at it. There's my lettuce cups. Here's my beautiful chopped salad. I'm so inspired by these other chefs. Okay, thank you. Bye.